Hello! So I thought today I would do a little bit of a movie review. I stay home like 95% of the time, and I have Netflix, so I watch a lot of crap on Netflix. Today the crap that I watched was a movie called High Fidelity. It came out in 2000. I don't know who directed it, I didn't pay attention. I remember seeing it years ago on like HBO or something. And I remember I liked it a lot. I thought it was kind of a neat movie. John Cusack is in it. His character is named Rob. He owns a record store. His girlfriend, who looks like Robin Wright Penn but isn't her, I don't know her name, I can't pronounce it. Her name is Laura in the movie. And so the whole premise of this movie is, in the very beginning of the movie, like first couple minutes, Rob and Laura are in the process of breaking up. She is in the process of getting her shit up out of the apartment and getting the hell out of there and not telling him where she's going or nothing. So basically what that does is that leads him into a tailspin where he just goes apeshit and tries to come up with a kind of like a plan to go and talk to all of his ex-girlfriends and find out what the hell went wrong. What did he do? Why did, you know, why did he, why was he involved in all these ruined relationships? Mind you, this guy's like 40. Like, I'm sure he's supposed to be like in his 30s, but he's obviously like 40 in the movie. So like, you know, it's not, you know, and they're just kind of like living together in like a little apartment with, his like record collection, and like he owns like a record store, which is kind of neat, I guess, but like it's kind of sad at the same time. Anywho, so he decides, you know, oh, and there's like this running bit throughout the whole movie where like he makes like top 5 list. So he has like, for examples, like top 5 funeral songs, top 5 worst breakups in his life, top 5 best songs to like kick somebody's ass to, just, you know, this whole thing, which is kind of neat. Although the thing that I love about this movie that I always thought was kind of neat, he constantly breaks the fourth wall. He's the only one that does this. He will constantly straight look at the camera and tell you what is going on. And as somebody who sometimes gets a little lost watching movies, I like that. I like that there's somebody there telling you what's going on, but still throughout the movie, just because he is like a 40-year-old trapped in like a 13-year-old emo girl's body, like I'm not even kidding, it's still kind of confusing because his brain is all over the place. He's blaming himself for everything, it's all his fault. But then as the movie goes on, he gets in touch with his ex-girlfriends from over the years, and he finds out that he was way better off without them, that, you know, they ended up with who they were supposed to be with, or that, you know, they were just total nightmares. He had this one girlfriend in college whose name was Charlie, and he like freaking idolized her, right? So he decides, I'm gonna track her down. So he calls her finally, after like being a pussy for a while and not calling her. He calls her and she's like, hey, why don't you come to dinner? We're having a fabulous night at my loft. Like, oh my god. So he gets there, and it's full of pretentious people, just pretentious people. And after just a couple of minutes sitting there, watching them drink wine and talk about bullshit, hello, he decides that, you know, this chick's an idiot. She never listened to anybody. She never had any good points about anything. She was just full of herself and just a pretentious jackass. And then, you know, he comes out and asks her, oh, why did you break up with me? Why did you leave me? And she just kind of gave like a bullshit answer, like, oh, you know, like, oh, well, there was this other guy and we screwed around for a couple of months, and then, you know, just, you know, that was basically it. And he was just like, he kind of left and he was like, okay, I was better off without her. I was better off without all the other girls, you know, but he was still like pining for his current ex-girlfriend, Laura, who, by the way, he found out later in the movie that she moved in with a guy that lives in the apartment above them, who's like a 50-year-old dude who does like yoga, has a ponytail, and is like a really gross like hippie douche. And so there's that. And I mean, obviously that upsets him, you know. Of course he wants to kick that guy's ass, you know, understandably, right? Yeah. She just didn't handle that well. And then, so as the movie goes on, you know, he keeps working in his record store, and she keeps little by little moving her shit out of the apartment and making it as awkward as possible. And the whole time he's just emo, 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 I hate myself, what did I do, just blah, you know, like, that's really negative. I wouldn't want to deal with that either. So I don't know, I don't blame her, but she shouldn't have, I don't know. I know it's just a movie, but like it makes you think, right? I don't know. So anyway, towards like the end of the movie, Laura's dad dies, and she tells Rob, hey, come to the funeral, you know, my dad liked you, and they were together for a while, so why not, you know? So he gets there, she is just out of her mind, crying. He doesn't really talk to her, he just says, you know, hey, I'm sorry, and, you know, and then he gets all dramatic and like runs out into the rain and like is all being all emo and shit. And meanwhile, she just like stops crying and goes and hops in the car and goes looking for him and gets his ass in the car, and she's like, oh, I'm glad I had a chance to leave to track you down. And then she pulls over on the side of the road, and it's like this little park or something, and she's like, oh, my dad used to bring us here when we were little. You want to have sex? What? Okay, so he was just like, sure. I mean, it's just like very casually like, oh, my, you know, father just died, you want to have sex? What? So anyway, she climbs on top of him, and they go at it, and then they're done, they drive back to her house or whatever, and then she basically tells him, I'm too lazy to try to make it work with somebody else, let's just get back together. Like, that was basically it. And he's like, okay. What? So they get back together and they're all hunky-dory, you know, no questions asked, no, you know, it was really just so, right? And then, like, stupid thing, like, 5-10 minutes before the movie ends, he starts, like, flirting with this other girl, and then nothing comes of that. He's just flirting with her, and nothing happens, and then at the end of the movie, he's DJing at a club, because he owns a record store, but it's, like, super pathetic, because he's, like, this, like, 40-year-old guy, and he's DJing to a bunch of, like, 20-year-olds, and I don't see the, correlation between those two. Like, really sad old guy, really young people, and like it was so awkward. The whole movie was awkward, and I figured out why I liked it so much. I liked it when I was like, so it came out in 2000. I think I remember watching it on HBO a couple years after that, so I was probably in the 15 to 16-year-old range, and that's probably why, because I was a 15 to 16-year-old girl who was probably all emo and being weird about my relationships, and I thought it was like a brilliant movie. Again, it's not a freaking horrible movie, but it's just one of those things where it's like, what the hell, you know? So, basic moral of the story is, don't act like a little bitch. I mean, if you like movies of that caliber, of the bitch caliber, you might like this one. I don't really know. I mean, I think it's kind of like cute that he has like a record store, and it was kind of a record store before there were hipsters, so it's kind of on that like cusp of like 90s, almost gonna be hipsters in a couple years kind of a thing, and it's kind of neat. Jack Black is in it, and he's doing his typical annoying fat guy thing, and I just, like, he doesn't, Jack Black to me just doesn't have enough depth really to do, you know, I mean, like, okay, the only movie I really ever liked him in was Shallow Hal, and he was still kind of a douche in that movie, so I don't really know. But yeah, anyway, that about wraps up what I thought of High Fidelity. Would I watch it again? Yeah, actually probably would. I think I'll be doing more movie reviews, and I mean, these are just my opinions, and I just like to be a little smartass sometimes and kind of, you know, inject my own little attitude and opinion on, you know, different kinds of movies and stuff, and if anybody gets offended because, like, this is one of their favorite movies or something, I'm sorry. Again, it's just my opinion, and I think I'm able to have my opinion. But anyway, I have a huge list of movies I want to review. A lot of them are 90s movies. I know High Fidelity came out in 2000, so it was just kind of on the cusp of the 90s, but I have a huge list of different movies and a couple different actors I kind of want to talk about. I just think it'll be kind of fun to bring some nostalgia into the thing. I'm a very 90s girl at heart. I grew up throughout the 90s, and I remember a lot of stuff, and so I'm going to be doing kind of I guess like a series of 90s subjects, and then I think I'll also be doing like vlogs of just me talking about random stuff and like talking about opinions on certain things and just talking. You know, I don't leave my house, I don't really do anything or go anywhere or talk to people, so it's kind of nice to be able to talk somewhere. You know, I mean, even if people don't really see this, it's still nice to think that maybe there might be a handful of people out there that kind of have the same opinions as me, or the same kind of sense of humor as me, or the same smart-ass sarcasticness as me. You know, it would be nice. If you have any comments, or you have any questions, or if there's a movie you want to throw out at me to review, I will try to review it as long as I can get my hands on it. If it's on somewhere online, or if it's on Netflix, or if I can, like, you know, buy it somewhere, I will definitely try to do that. Just let me know. Like I said, I have a huge list of lots of like 90s movies. Some of them are, you know, newer movies. Some of them are from the 80s. So just let me know, okay? Hope whoever's watching this enjoys it, and hope y'all have a good night. Bye.